after 2 weeks away, one vacationing with family to Niagara Falls, and one for my Doctor of Ministry classes in North Carolina, it feels really good to be back. As we spoke about before I went away, we're wrapping up our summer sermon series about travels, both literal travels in these days, in this summer, in this season, and figurative travels with Jesus through these texts of what it might mean to be the church. We're taking a different turn this week and looking at Psalm 139. This week's text at first glance comes across as a bit softer, gentler, more like a lullaby than a rallying cry for the church. At first glance, that is. So let's take a look. The lectionary has gifted us with Psalm 139, which happens to be my all-time favorite psalm. I know I say that a lot about passages, but really, this one's amazing. This one's my favorite. It truly is my favorite psalm, though. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down, when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all of my ways. All of them. Before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before. And you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high I cannot attain it. Searched and known. Beloved of God, what does it mean to you that God searches you and knows you so well? My mind goes to the image of a house. My friends and acquaintances, and many of you now, thank you Zoom, know the first floor of my home pretty well. It's where we put our nice things, right? It's the area that gets the most spot cleaning when someone is coming over. It's the most presentable space. Now, people who have been my acquaintances know the first floor of my house. People who have been my overnight guests know my upstairs. This is a more intimate knowing. They see the guest bathroom that they share with my children, I'm sorry. And they are really, if they are really good friends, they might even know my children's bedrooms because the boys love being read to by others as part of their nighttime routine. But as close to our hearts as our overnight guests are, they usually don't go into my master bedroom or our master bathroom. And Kevin and I are, thanks be to God, the only ones who know the current status of our shared closet. I name all of this to say that there are spaces I don't like to open to the casual visitor when I give a tour of the home. But God knows all of them. God knows all of our interior spaces, the closets in our heads and hearts that no one really wants to have on display. God knows all of our gifts. God knows what we bring to others. God also knows all of our discomforts, all of our fears, all of our twinges when someone mentions politics or racism. God knows the ugly parts of us that we try to hide under lock and key. You have searched me, and you've known me, God. You search out my path and my lying down. You are acquainted with all of my ways. With all of them. You really want to know that, God? I first preached on this passage, and it really is my favorite psalm, when I was 20 years old. And remember how I've talked about that semester at sea program I had, right? Where we sailed around the world. We stopped in different countries along the way. This is a story that might get me into a little trouble in terms of our denomination, so keep it quiet, internet, okay. I was studying abroad, and we were hitting Easter. We were in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and there were no clergy on the boat. And we had sort of formed a group of folks who were communing together and doing Bible studies and things like that. And they said, Jill, we really need to have communion on Easter. And I said, yeah, I do. And they're like, and you need to do it. And I said, no, I don't. But I preached on Psalm 139 before giving communion, which is not kosher exactly in our tradition, but it is, I did tell this to folks before I was ordained. They said it was okay-ish. But I was 20 years old. You've searched me and known me, God. How we encounter that text at a really young age, and when I was just starting to apply to seminary and everything. God had searched me and known me and called me for something specific, especially on that boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, on that beautiful sunrise Easter service. The next time I preached on this passage was my last year of seminary. Before I was heading off and becoming a minister, I had it all, right? I was about to become a master of divinity. Your knowledge is so high I cannot attain it. Seminary is an interesting way to kind of bat that around. And I remember, it's a great honor to preach at your seminary. And it was a communion day. And preaching, you have hemmed me in, behind, before. God knows us so well. God knows all of our gifts and skills that intimately. It's beautiful. So interesting that I'm now returning to a seminary setting to do school after almost 15 years of having been out of it, and here we have this text again today. God, you really know all of us. You know us through the whole trajectory of our lives. So the psalmist has some discomfort with this, and like a child who knows that she did something wrong, tries to hide from this all-knowing gaze. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you're there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest corners of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night. Even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. There's no hiding from God, folks. Sometimes that's beautiful. Budding ministry, about to go into a new profession, I felt named and claimed and known. But I'll be honest with you, this time, after having been away from seminary for a long time, there's a little bit of fear about being known, right? There's a little bit of fear about being seen so intimately, about being so vulnerable to a new group of people. I was talking with my kids about starting school again, right? Remember those first day of school jitters? It's real, because we're afraid to be known. We're afraid to be seen in this very intimate way. The shadowy places of our spirits, the parts we'd rather not see ourselves, let alone share with others, the shame we hold about that thing that happened that one time. God sees it all. Even when we hide those things from others, and adults are so good at that, God sees it all. And God not only sees it all, but God loves us for who we are. And here's the thing, folks. God knows these things about us, takes these things and plays with them like a potter with clay. And as the grand artist, God has a design in mind for all of us. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them as yet existed. How weighty to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. I try to count them. They're more than the sand. I come to the end. I am still with you. All the days of our lives are known to God. There is a design, that of an artist, and a holy call. When we are well known, when we are loved to this degree, God cannot help but envision and hope good things for us. And not just for us, but for all of humanity. Sometimes that inner probing can be a challenge. We all have rooms we'd rather not show, things we're not proud of. But knowing that there is a being who sees it all, who loves us fully and completely anyway, what a gift. What a gift. And what a worthy challenge for us as we consider how to love others with that same holy, expansive, welcoming love. This is a two-part challenge of both internalizing our own belovedness and of treating others the same way. And it strikes me as particularly relevant on this Labor Day weekend. We remember the people who have gone before us who advocated for a day of rest and to celebrate, paradoxically, labor. A day of rest to celebrate labor. More accurately put, the implementation of labor laws that work to curtail the abuse of the working class. This harkens back to the old work-rest dance that I've spoken about from here a few times, the need for Sabbath after 6 hard days of work. On Labor Day, we celebrate labor by not doing it. That's a challenge for some of us, and I pose that challenge to you as we look towards tomorrow. What does your schedule look like? We remember those who have advocated for us, and we are called to continue to do the same in our own work in this world. But here's the thing that's so special that makes Psalm 139 such a wonderful connective bridge. We are called into this work of loving others deeply in this intimate way because we have first rested in our belovedness. We are called into this work because we have first rested in who we are, beloved by God. We have come to the end, and God is still with us after we have rested in our belovedness, after we have soaked in the words of God, you have searched me and known me. Only then does God call us to pick up the plowshare, or the phone, the phone, or the pen to write the letter, or the shoes to lace up for the march. Our actions flow from our beingness. If we know the truth of Psalm 139 in our core, if we really know how deeply loved we are, seeing all of those parts of us, then we will want to do no other than treat others with that same compassion and share that good news with all whom we meet. Beloved of God, may it be so. As you take time tomorrow, hopefully to rest and to play, may you remember to soak in that deep pool of being known, of being seen, and of being loved. And may we then invite others to wade in, because that water is pretty wonderful. In the name of God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.